Hello and welcome to TVB News. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was heading home today after offering Russian President Vladimir Putin his full and unconditional support for Russia's war against Ukraine. He described North Korea's relations with Russia as the first priority. The two leaders met at a remote Siberian rocket launch facility, with Putin refusing to rule out talks on possible North Korean weapons sales to Russia. Nazvi Karim has more.
They spoke about spy satellites. They spoke about their fight against imperialism. And they may even speak about the sale of weapons. Russian President Vladimir Putin refused to rule out the taboo topic of buying arms from Pyongyang as he welcomed North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to a remote part of Siberia near the Chinese border, where Russia's most advanced space launch facility is located. When asked if talks would include North Korean weapons sales to Russia, Putin said, "We will talk about all issues without a rush. There is time." The United States and its allies are concerned that Kim may look to unload his stockpile of Soviet-era artillery shells for Putin's war against Ukraine. Washington has already warned both countries that any such deal would violate United Nations Security Council sanctions. After arriving by rail in the border town of Khasan on Tuesday, Kim was taken by limousine to the Vostochny Cosmodrome, Russia's launch facility where the North Korean leader reportedly asked many questions about the country's satellite program. Kim is keen to develop military spy satellites to enhance the threat of Pyongyang's nuclear-capable missiles. North Korea has consistently failed to put spy satellites into orbit, something Putin is aware of and one of the reasons he chose to meet at the Cosmodrome. "That's why we have come here," Putin reportedly said, adding, Kim shows great interest in rocket technology and that North Korea is trying to develop its space program. Putin showed Kim around the area where Russia's new space booster, the 42.7-meter Angara, capable of launching payloads into low Earth orbit, is assembled. Kim also threw his support behind Russia's conflict in Ukraine, describing it as a sacred war against imperialism and hegemonic forces. This after he signed the visitor book in which he wrote in Korean, "The glory to Russia, which gave birth to the first space conquerors, will be immortal." The two leaders and their teams were set to hold more talks later in the day, but whether the subject of weapons in exchange for satellite technology is brought up remains to be seen. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has announced that he is ordering an inquiry into impeaching President Joe Biden over his family's business dealings. He is expected to launch the proceedings ahead of the 2024 presidential election. NBC has more.
Tonight, House Republicans ramping up their investigation into President Biden and his family. Speaker Kevin McCarthy directing 3 GOP-controlled committees to open an impeachment inquiry.
These are allegations of abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption, and they warrant further investigation by the House of Representatives.
House Republicans have alleged that the president has profited off the foreign business dealings of his son Hunter and lied about it, but have provided no direct evidence to prove those claims, which the White House has denied.
There is no evidence of wrongdoing by President Biden because President Biden didn't do anything wrong.
But Republicans believe elevating their investigations to an impeachment inquiry is necessary to overcome what they say is White House stonewalling in their various probes.
There's enough smoke. There may be a fire there. So I think this is the logical next step.
That's what leadership looks like, and it's absolutely the right thing to do.
Democrats tonight rallying to the president's defense, accusing Republicans of seeking revenge for the 2 impeachments of Donald Trump.
This is an illegitimate impeachment inquiry. Period. Full stop.
Some openly mocking the GOP effort as unserious, without evidence or a full House vote to support it.
Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh no.
And tonight, the committee chairman leading the inquiry says his first step will be pursuing bank records for Hunter Biden and the president's brother.
The government will hold the Night Vibes Hong Kong campaign launch ceremony tomorrow night to promote the nighttime economy. Meanwhile, over 20 million tourists visited Hong Kong in the first 8 months of the year. There's hope that the total number of visitors for the whole year will surpass 26 million as forecast earlier. Sharon Tang reports.
The summer holidays are over and the latest visitor figures are out. The Tourism Board revealed that over 4 million people visited Hong Kong last month, a 14% jump compared to July. That's also 84% of the figure during the same period before the pandemic. Wrapping up the first 8 months of the year, 20 million people visited Hong Kong. Using the average tourist figures of the past few months to project the number of visitors for the rest of the year, the total number in 2023 may surpass the city's forecast of 26 million. But that's not even half of the total number of visitors in 2018. Meanwhile, 80% of the tourists in the first 8 months of the year are from the mainland. In the first 8 months of 2018, mainland tourists accounted for 78.4% of the total number of visitors. That indicates there have been comparatively fewer non-mainland tourists coming to Hong Kong. A representative from the hotel industry said currently there is only one tour group per day, with around 10 members visiting. Before COVID, there were about 2 to 3 tour groups per day, with at least 40 members in each of them. Paul Leung, chairman of the Hong Kong Inbound Travel Association, said it will take time for non-mainland visitor figures to pick up. He added that when flight capacities are low and tickets are expensive, it's natural that visitors will not come to Hong Kong. Meanwhile, Hong Kong residents would choose to visit places such as Vietnam, where air tickets are in good supply and inexpensive. To cope with government's plan to boost nighttime economy, the Tourism Board will organize large-scale events such as the Wine and Dine Festival and New Year's Eve countdowns in the next few months. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
Government officers still cannot enter house number 74 at the luxurious residential estate, Red Hill Peninsula, to examine parts of the house suspected to have unauthorized structures. Authorities have now received a court warrant and will go back to the house for an inspection tomorrow morning. This morning, outsourced construction workers from the Lands Department put up scaffolding near the slopes outside houses number 70 and 72. Stabilization works were also carried out to prevent further landslides from happening. Authorities say if the weather allows, the contractors will complete remedial works for the more urgent parts of the slope within the next few days. Last night, authorities confirmed at least 3 houses at Red Hill Peninsula have unlawfully occupied government land. The owner of house number 74 refused to let government officers enter parts of the house with suspected unauthorized building works. A historic structure in Stanley, the Chung Hum Kok Battery, has suffered serious flooding following the recent rainstorm. Drone shots show that the Chung Hum Kok Park and Battery has turned into a pool. The stone tables and chairs originally there are no longer visible. Landslides have also blocked the road in the area. The battery was built in 1938 with the British forces using it to defend the southern coastline of Hong Kong Island. The facility was classified as a Grade 2 historic buildings in 2009. Experts say the battery is a remnant of World War II and has great value, adding that authorities need to drain away the water soon or the structure may face further damage. The 8th Belt and Road Summit began today at the Convention and Exhibition Center, with this year marking the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. This as Beijing officials voiced their firm support for Hong Kong preserving its unique geopolitical position and status. Timothy Lee tells us more.
In a joint effort by the Hong Kong government and the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, the 2-day-long Belt and Road Summit today welcomed around 6,000 guests, including Chief Executive John Lee and Financial Secretary Paul Chan. Addressing the crowd by video, First Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang noted the need for the city to strengthen its partnership with the rest of the mainland. He said Beijing supports maintaining the city's special status via the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, a sentiment shared by the SAR officials.
Hong Kong is a green finance hub. It is a complete ecosystem full of green professionals, green technologies, and today in this summit you would see that there's a lot of professional services from Hong Kong achieving success along the Belt and Road countries, doing smart cities, smart building designs.
Meanwhile, representatives from scores of countries in the Global Infrastructure and Development Program expressed their desire to bump up trade with Hong Kong via the BRI.
Most importantly is that Hong Kong can act as a gateway for the Chinese company from the mainland China as a financial hub and as the great place with our state-of-the-art business environment. I would like to also point out that the first overseas visit of President Xi Jinping were Kazakhstan after the pandemic. That expressed the huge attention by the Chinese government to our region.
In Belt and Road Initiative, especially with Hong Kong, our IT sector, I think, would be the biggest beneficial partner of this initiative, actually. I believe that many companies, artificial intelligence, will directly hope to make a collaboration with a Chinese firm.
The UAE has one of the best seaports, and now what we want to do is have the best brain ports. And I think China, with the recent technologies that they are producing, is a place of interest for us.
Several Middle Eastern countries that joined the summit today, such as the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, said they look forward to further investment from both the Chinese mainland and Hong Kong, with the former focusing on infrastructure and the latter on sustainability. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Cyberport said the data breach incident could have been caused by human negligence. The comment came after hackers had stolen some 400 gigabytes of data from the technology park's computer system before publishing them on the dark web. Mimo Singhai reports.
The breach data incident happened in August after Cyberport refused to pay a ransom of $300,000, which is around 2.35 million Hong Kong dollars. The entire 400 gigabytes worth of data was published on the dark web. Eric Yuan, the board director of Cyberport, said the stolen information belonged to a shared disk, and the purpose of the disk was to provide a convenient way for employees to store their data. Yuan said the incident might have been caused by a mistake performed by a staff member. Secretary for Innovation and Technology Sun Dong, meanwhile, said he had told the technology park to strengthen its cybersecurity. As technology advances, the strategies of cyber criminals are also developing, the secretary told the press today. However, Sun believes the overall cybersecurity level in Hong Kong is still good and said the public should not worry. Among the leaked 400 GB of data were employees' personal photos and details. A malware expert says Cyberport should compensate the victims financially, which is a common practice of overseas companies.
I suggest they can contact some victims. They can even contact them and try to make some kind of compensation to show their sincerity so that they want to make something better or improve. In some cases, some people may think, hey, my file, my data is already encrypted, they lost everything. Hopefully then this kind of compensation could help to maintain the reputation and the image of the Cyberport. At least they will undertake the responsibility.
While the term dark web may sound familiar to many people, the concept or usage of the dark web may not.
In the dark web, will not disclose their privacy and keep themselves anonymous. So one of the representative example is the Tor network. It is established before, but the bad guys, evils always abuse, manipulate those good things. They try to trade underground, trade some evils like drugs, like credit card numbers, like even to selling different child pornography.
Lai added it is a high challenge for law enforcement to tackle dark web criminals because users of the internet's mysterious underbelly are untraceable. Memo Singhai, TVB News.
That is the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.